Jai Shriman Narayan. Jai Shriman Narayan. Jai Shriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to our Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to our 12 Alvars. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi, and I pay my obeisances to Lord Srimad Narayan. I welcome all of you here physically at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that's watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted on YouTube and the various groups from around the world subsequently. Today we start and we launch the Guru Principle. And this series of discourses, culminating, I think, just after Krishna Janmashtami and 3 weeks prior to the 17th of October, will be condensed in the form of a book. And when we're celebrating our 10-year as a spiritual institution, then we will hand out these books to the guests and our devotees that are present. So in order to understand the Guru Principle, it is necessary to have a background. And I'm going to use this discourse today to set the foundation on which the Guru Principle is going to be built. A teacher is necessary to disseminate what? Knowledge. So in the material world, man has used his mind to accumulate and disseminate knowledge. In the material world, man has used his mind as an instrument to accumulate knowledge, to store knowledge, and to disseminate that knowledge when it becomes necessary. Then we have scientific knowledge. Man has used his mind to break down knowledge up until its smallest component, and that is called science. Continuously breaking down huge chunks of knowledge to understand it from its very basic component, that is called science. And then man also uses chunks of knowledge where it cannot be broken down into its smallest component, and this turns into philosophy. This turns, where science cannot be explained materially, then this part becomes known as philosophy. Since time immemorial, man has been trying to understand himself and his surrounding. And in trying to understand himself and his surrounding, he has conducted various experiments. Side by side with man trying to understand his surrounding, there is knowledge available in another dimension, and this knowledge is called the Vedas. So when material science need to be explained, which has been conjured by the mind of humans, then you have people studying a particular aspect of material knowledge and becoming experts in that knowledge. So if one wants to understand material nature in terms of the planet Earth itself, then he will become proficient in a subject called geography. If one wants to understand all the plants, that person will become knowledgeable in a subject called botany. And similarly, if you want to understand the particles, the atoms, the neutrons, the protons, the string theory, and other theories, then one will become knowledgeable in a subject called physical science. If you want to learn about our heavenly bodies, our galaxies, our stars, the sun, then one would become knowledgeable in astronomy and astrology. If one wants to study the heart of a human being, that person will become a heart specialist, and then you also get ear, nose and throat specialist. So if you need knowledge, if you need substantive knowledge from any of these material categories, then you won't go to your parents. Will you go to your parents? Where will you go? Where? No, if you need material knowledge, if you need to understand atoms and electrons and protons, you'll go to a university where they teach you physics or physical science. And if you want to know chemicals, their combinations and their solutions and results, you will go to somebody that can teach you chemistry. If you want to know the contours, the mountains, the rivers, then you will go to somebody that knows geography. You don't go to your parents unless they are experts in one of those fields. So similarly, if you want to know who God is, then you have to go to someone who is an expert in the field of God. You don't go to your parents, you go to someone who is an expert in the field of God, because God is also a subject matter. His creation is also a subject matter, and those that have realized who God is, those that are in communication with the Supreme Lord, those that the Lord has chosen to represent Him, you need to go to them to know who the Lord is. Does it make sense? If you need to know law, you need to go to a law institution. If you need to know mathematics, you need to go to an institution that teaches mathematics. If you need to learn carpentry, you need to go to a technical college where they teach carpentry. You need to go to experts of subjects who have realized their subjects. A mathematician has realized mathematics. A physicist has realized physical science. A botanist has realized botany. A heart specialist has realized the subject of the heart. And similarly, if you want to know God, you have to go to somebody who has realized God. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? It's as simple as that, and this is where the confusion is. In all these other subject matters, you will go to school, you will learn, you will write your exams, and you will take it for granted that these are the experts in this field. But only when it comes to God, to worship, then you will say, I will follow what my parents did, or I will ask my parents. Does it make sense? In everything else in life, you don't listen to your parents. When your parents say don't drink, you drink. When your parents say don't smoke, you smoke. When your parents say don't swear, don't fight, you don't take all of these righteous advice, but only when it comes to God. Only when it comes to God, that is the only time you say, I will do what my parents are doing. And this has taken Sanatan Dharma out of its circuit. And this is why there is widespread confusion around the world, those who profess to be Sanatan Dharmis. And right at the basic, right out, you are calling yourself Hindus. You are calling yourself Hindus. Hindu is a geographical location of the people living in India across the river Sindhu, as propounded by the Arabs and the Greeks. The Arabs and the Greeks called people living in India due to the geographical location as Hindus. Whoever lives in India is a Hindu. Whoever lives in India is a Hindu. You get Hindu Muslims, Hindu Christians, Hindu Jews, Hindu atheists. Whoever lives in India is a Hindu, because India is the word Hindu was coined as a geographical location. Whoever lives in India is a Hindu. Do you understand? And then you call yourself, or we call ourselves, Hindus. There is no such reference anywhere in our scriptures that we are Hindus. Only if you live in India, Shanti, you're a Hindu, because it's a geographical location. Geographical location to those who live in India. You can be a Muslim, you're a Hindu. You can be a Christian, you're a Hindu. You can be a Jew, you're a Hindu, because it's a geographical location. You can't live in South Africa and say, I'm a Hindu. Do you understand? Hindu is not a religion. And that is the first thing we need to set right. What the followers of the Vedas, those who follow the Vedas, are known as Sanatan Dharmis. So we need to get our identity correct first. And if we do not have our right identity, if we don't know who we are, how are we going to know who our Creator is? You cannot reach the Creator through a false identity. You cannot reach your Creator with a false identity. So when you hear Hindus are living around the world, is it true or is it false? False. Hindus are only living in India. All of you understand? And Hindus are Muslims, Christians, Jews, whoever live in that geographical location. I'm repeating so that it must sink in that if you call yourself a Hindu, you are miss and falsely identifying yourself. Your identification, if you follow the Vedas, is Sanatan Dharmis. So we want to get there, and I wanted to start at the outset the significance and importance of a guru. Have you heard of this before? Have you heard of this before? Imagine the entire world at this point in time is of the belief that Indians of India who follow the Vedas are Hindus. Yes or no? 99.99 people around the world believe that Indians of India who follow the Vedas are Hindus. Can you see the reason, the significance why you need a bona fide spiritual master for you to understand the dimension of spirituality? Anything to do with God is spiritual, and you need a bona fide spiritual master aligned to the Supreme Lord so that you can understand the Supreme Lord in His full cognizance. So just now Mataji was singing Acharya Ji Narayana, and then people would think, how can Mataji equate the Guru to Narayana? Yes, that thought will go in your mind that the Guru is an ordinary human being, and why is this song equating the Guru to the Supreme Lord? Yes, we are going to think like that, and it is normal, it is logical. I also thought like this when I did not understand the Guru principle, and this is why it is necessary to attend service of a bona fide spiritual master so that you can get bona fide knowledge. And it is this bona fide knowledge that clears up your maya of karmas that is accumulated for the past 155 trillion years. Each one of us are carrying karma from the past 155 trillion years. And it is this karma that gets us in problems. We have unhealthy families, unhealthy children, unhealthy work, unhealthy businesses. Everything is not right because of our accumulated karmas. You think I'm doing everything right in this lifetime. Why am I still suffering? So this knowledge that you get from a bona fide spiritual master relieves you of misunderstanding. It relieves you, it releases you, it releases your mind, it releases your intellect, and you can heave a sigh of relief that there is nothing wrong with you when you suffer. It is an accumulation of karmas from since this creation. We've been going through cycles of birth and death. So I want to bring this for you to understand in its true and correct perspective. I want to bring this understanding. I want you to understand how life works as a mechanism. And when you understand how life works, you'll be able to tackle and accept life's challenges. When you understand the working of life, and when you can accept life's challenges, where is the stress? Where is the stress if you understand the mechanics of life? So I'm going to start, and I said I want to, in this series, I am going to verify whatever I am saying through scripture, so that this discourse is scripturally legal and coherent. Scripturally legal and coherent. You can go and also research, analyze, and understand what the Guru is trying to say. So I'm going to Lord Sri Ramanuj, Vedartha Sangraha. This was written 1,000 years ago. This was compiled and explained 1,000 years ago. And number 17 on page 15 of the Vedartha Sangraha. I'm going to read quickly, and Hemita will photograph this passage, so when they are transcribing, I don't have to read it slowly for transcribing purposes. All right? Number 17, and I'm quoting this entire number 17 on page 15 of the Vedartha Sangraha. I am quoting, and it says, "Thus all Vedic terms denote their respective reference in such a way that the denotation stretches up to the highest self." Full stop. The highest Brahman brought forth the various beings of the world as before. And I want you to underline before. At creation, the Supreme Lord brought forth all the beings at before. What does at before mean? That means creation is cyclic. Creation is cyclic. It's not a mistake we are living in this 21st century today and experiencing what we are experiencing today. All this has happened before. There were cell phones before. There were aeroplanes before. There were submarines before. There was technology before. There was data before. Everything that you're experiencing now was there before. And if you go to the temples in India, you will find sculptures with a person speaking on a cell phone. You'll see that's 1,000 years ago, a person speaking on a cell phone. There is a sculpture there. It can be carbon dated to be over 1,000 years. You will see a person riding a bicycle over 1,000 years ago in India in a sculpture. All these things were there before. There are so many temples that you cannot understand how they were built. It's mind-boggling now at this point in time with all our technology to see how those temples were built. No scientific explanation because there was advanced technology when those temples were built. So everything that we are living now, do not think we are the greatest civilization. Cell phone was invented today. This is cyclic. All the time we had cell phones. All the time we had television. All the time we had aeroplanes. These things come in cycles. They get forgotten. They come again. And they get forgotten again. The highest Brahman brought forth various beings of the world as before and took out the terms of the Vedas and applied them as before as names to those beings which have their being in Brahman. Just completing that. So, at every cycle, the same saints appear. The same saints appear. The same posts are created. Lord Brahma, is Lord Brahma a person or is Lord Brahma a post in which the most advanced individual soul occupies? It's a post. Lord Brahma is a post. Lord Shiva is a post that the most advanced individual soul occupies. Do you understand? At times in creation, when there is no Lord Brahma that is qualified to occupy that post, then the Supreme Lord Himself incarnates into that position as Lord Brahma and occupies that post. Lord Indra is a post. Lord Vayu is a post. These are cosmic administrative posts occupied by individual souls like myself, that's in you, that's in the cat, that's in the rat, that's in the dog, that's in the snail. When the soul, individual soul, becomes absolutely purified, then they occupy these posts in the universe. And there are 330 million posts to be occupied for the cosmic administrators. The first human being, who is the first human being that was created? Who? Manu. First human being is Manu, and he says, in the beginning, he, with capital letters, created the names of all actions and the different configurations, even according to the words of the Veda. So at creation, God inserts the discs of the Veda into His universe, and according to the disc of the Veda, creation takes place. Configuration means form. Bhagwan Parasha says, who is Bhagwan Parasha? He is the father of Veda, Vyas, who compiled all the Vedas. So the father of Veda Vyas says, in the beginning he set forth names, forms and duties of beings like the gods, and when we say gods we mean the Devis and Devtas, through the words of the Vedas themselves. The Vedas also declare the Creator fashioned the sun and the moon as before. It means that He fashions entities like the sun is before and determined their names as before. So I don't want you to get confused. I put in these Vedic injunctions for you to know that if everything is fashioned and configured as before, then the guru-disciple relationship is eternal. I'm proving this now. What am I proving? I'm proving through scripture that the guru-disciple relationship is eternal. What does eternal mean? The guru-disciple relationship is never ending. Never ending in which context? Right now we have 8 billion. Are we close to 8 billion humans?
Yes.
They comprise of Muslims, Christians, Jews, atheists, coloreds, blacks, whites, Indians, yes? Every race, every culture. Right now we have 8 million. Every one of those human beings has a bona fide spiritual master. Every one of those human beings have a bona fide spiritual master. Their karma has put them where they are today. If they are not in connection with the bona fide spiritual master physically today, it means that's where their karma has put them. Every one of the 8 million species, there are 8.4 million species of life, every living entity in the 8.4 million species in life has a bona fide spiritual master. If you're a cat, you have a guru. If you're a dog, you have a guru. If you're a koi fish, you have a guru. There are many koi fish that came, that lived at the ashram, and they left. They came and lived with the guru. You see Lakshman, we had Ram, we had Sita, our dogs. They all came, they had an X amount of time to spend with the guru, and then they left. Now we have Lakshman. Is Lakshman not a divine dog? Is Rudra not a divine cat? We had the geese in the back. We got our 2 Gomatas. These Gomatas have come through a system. Nothing is a coincidence. All these beautiful plants and trees that you see in the ashram right round, they came to serve the ashram as disciples. These plants and trees that you see in the ashrams are disciples. You understand? All of you understand a bit deep. But I'm giving you quotations directly from scripture. So nothing is a coincidence. You can come as a disciple in any form up until the time that you qualify to come as a human being. And this is why we impress all the gurus in the world. When they have a flock, they always tell the flock that this human body is very, very hard to attain. The plant doesn't know, it appeared. The animals don't know, they appeared. The human is the only living entity that can know, that can understand. There is no guarantee your next life is a human life. And there is no guarantee after how many millions of years you will get another human life again. I'm stating 155 trillion years have passed. You have this human body. You don't know when was your last, after how many million or billion years you got this human body. You don't know. You understand? And you don't know after how many million or billion years you're going to get your next body to understand. And God doesn't mind how long it takes, because this is the game of God. He don't care. God doesn't care how long you take to realize Him. Because according to His time, according to the Supreme Lord's time, this entire 311 trillion 40 billion years of creation is just 1 second. It's just 1 second for the Supreme Lord. All of you understand? So I want to run through and whilst I'm finding myself, I decided that in this series I'm going to declare every now and again any miracle that has taken place, because we are consistently being attacked by the demonic forces. It is necessary to declare miracles that take place at this ashram. So all of you all are well aware of our prince, and the prince, his wife couldn't sustain her pregnancy for the full term. So she had many miscarriages, and she came from Cape Town. She made a special appointment to see me, and she came from Cape Town and she saw me twice. And I gave her a guarantee she'll be able to verify. I'm sure the prince and his wife are going to come to ashram with our baby. Will verify. The prince wanted two things from me. He wanted a male child to take over. The prince I'm talking about is the prince of the San Nation in South Africa. He is the prince of the San Nation in Southern Africa. He is a direct descendant of his father, King Shlatykulu, who was murdered. And the prince survived. He is 40 years old. He wanted to secure his lineage. So he asked me for two things. One, that the pregnancy must be retained, and number two, he must have a son. He got both from the ashram. He got a son, and he got that pregnancy did not fall into miscarriage. Medical science could not give the prince this guarantee. The hospital where his wife was going, the private doctor could not give prince this guarantee. I gave his wife this guarantee when she was here in March. I gave her this guarantee when she was here in March. Yesterday, a handsome baby boy was born to the San Nation. I hope when this child grows up, this child is able to carry the nation forward in the royal lineage. All right? And I think God, in His mercy and grace, if you look at the child's hair, it is straight. Both the mum and the dad have peppercorn hair. But if you look at baby's hair is straight. All right? Because baby's grandmother was a Singh. Baby's grandmother was a Singh. All right? So God in His mercy has brought all of this together to show those that are demonic, those that are attacking the ashram every now and again, that whatever a demon can do, we can do. But whatever we can do, no demon can do. You understand? And that is why I want to put in these miracles. These are our own miracles. It's from this ashram. Why shouldn't it be made public? Why should we hide these miracles? Because a miracle tells you that God is present in this ashram. Because that is impossible. She had continuous miscarriages. No one in medical science could give a guarantee. All right? The guarantee was given here at the Sri Narayan Dham. So I just want to flip fast. I'm going to read again because this Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm going to quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vishvadhar has a copy of this on his internet. So I'm not going to read slowly, I'm going to read fast. They'll be able to extract it and fit it in the discourse later. So this is Canto 12, page 35, text 4. And the main heading is the symptoms of Kali Yuga. All of you know we are in the Kali Yuga is a period of 432,000 years, of which 5,000 years have elapsed already. So we have 427,000 years more to go. And text 4 states, and I want you to understand this and take cognizance. Text 4 states, and I'm quoting, "A person's spiritual position will be ascertained merely according to the external symbols, and on that same basis, people will change from one spiritual order to the next." Is it happening today? A person's propriety will be seriously questioned if he does not earn a good living. Is that happening today? And one who is very clever at juggling words will be considered a learned scholar. Is that happening today? You'll watch on TV. There's some high-flying commercial gurus on TV, yes or no? And they fly in their own helicopters, they fly in their own aeroplanes. These gurus are moving because they can juggle words. They can juggle words, and they have captivated the West through jugglery of the words with nothing substantive from the Vedas. These gurus you won't find giving references to the Vedas. You all know who I'm talking about. I don't want to mention, but this guru has gone right round the world. He even rides his motorbikes here and there. All right? But nothing, cannot give one quotation from the Vedas. You understand? So, the Vedas already predicted these commercial gurus. They're already here, they're already in the Vedas. And I thought in this introduction to the guru system, I found it necessary for me to bring this quotation through. Then it is stated in the Bhumi Gita, same Canto 12, Chapter 3, Text 51. And I'm quoting, "My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Maha Mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom." And this is what I am doing. This is what I sacrificed my material life for. This is why I sit here every Sunday. This is my essence. Because although everything else is topsy-turvy, if you come to ashram and if you hear the Maha Narayana mantra, that is why we greet each other. When I greet you, how do I greet you? Narayan. Why am I using the word Narayan? As you continue to use the word Narayan, if you take an iron and keep rubbing it on a magnet, one day what will become of the iron? Similarly, by you continuously using the name Narayan with your devotees in between, and the more times, this is why all my bhajans are Narayan based. You see, most of the bhajans are Narayan based. We go sometime general, but our invocation is Lord Shriman Narayan. So the more time the word Narayan, there is no different in the word Narayan and the Supreme Lord Narayan. There is no difference in the word Narayan and the Supreme Lord Narayan. Narayan exists in his word and his word exists in himself. You understand? So when you say Narayan, there's a burst of absolute energy. When you say Narayan, there's a burst of absolute energy. And this is why when you do your parikrama around here, you must say silently, Om Namo Narayan, Om Namo Narayan. Why did I create this parikrama? Jessica got no time to go home and say one Om Namo Narayan. Not even one. Alright? Satisbhai? Am I right? So, when I got you in the ashram and we got parikrama, ashram is a place of pilgrimage. I got you in the parikrama, you can say 100 Om Namo Narayans. It can last you 1 week until you come back to satsang. You understand? And this is the injection of Om Namo Narayan. Om Namo Narayan. This is your injection. Whether you don't have to be in a state of absolute purity to use the name Narayan. Hear me again. You don't have to be in a state of absolute purity to state Om Namo Narayana. You can say it in whatever state you are. So please, Satishbhai, don't go in a pub now and scream Om Namo Narayan, Om Namo Narayan, Om Namo. Put one beer and your chicken. I'm not giving you license for that. But I'm saying one day when you are in trouble, you had your chicken, you had your beer, and there's a horse and trailer coming right in front of you, you can't do anything, you can say Om Namo Narayan, and the horse and trailer will stop right in front of you, and you won't even be able to put a piece of paper in between you and the horse and trailer. That's a guarantee I'm giving you. That is a guarantee I am giving you. So this is why it is important. This is why it is important to come to satsang and free the miseries of your life. Understand the misery first before freeing it. If you understand why you are miserable, then freeing it is very, very simple. Page. And this is also important, the next verse, Canto 12, Chapter 3, verse 52. Whatever result was obtained in Sat Yuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapara Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga by simply chanting the Maha Mantras. So I gave you two Vedic injunctions. Two Vedic injunctions I gave you. Alright? The second one is saying that you don't have to meditate. This is why I stopped Dhana from his 4 o'clock meditation. I don't know where he was going in his meditation, but I stopped him because it is useless. Meditation is useless in Kali Yuga. Sacrifices is useless. And serving the Lord's feet as a deity in temple is useless. Because we are in Kali Yuga. In this Yuga, You only have to chant the Lord's name. This is the best yoga. People are thinking, I'd rather be in Satyug. In Satyug, to reach the Lord, you have to meditate for thousands of years, because life in Satyug is 100,000 years. A human in Satyug lives for 100,000 years. Imagine how many thousands of years you have to meditate to reach the Supreme Lord. In Treta Yuga, life is 10,000 years. How much of sacrifices you have to perform for how many thousand years to reach the Supreme Lord? Dwapara Yuga, life is 1,000 years. How much of temple worship, deity worship you have to do in that 1,000 years of your life to reach the Supreme Lord? Look in Kali Yuga, wherever you are, whilst you are working, whilst you are driving, wherever you are, you can reach the Supreme Lord by simply chanting the Maha Mantra. The Maha Mantra is Om Namo Narayana. Maha Mantra is Om Namo Narayana. Get used. If you can't chant the whole Maha Mantra, just say Narayana when you're in trouble. Just say Narayana. Get up in the morning. You don't have to get into a position to say your mantras. As soon as you open your eyes, Om Namo Narayan, thank you for the beautiful sleep I had last night. See, straight away you connected. See how simple it is? As you go into the bathroom, Om Namo Narayan. As you have in a shower, Om Namo Narayan. You don't have to find a specific 1 hour now to go in your prayer room and waste your time and bluff yourself. As you are moving, whatever you are doing, if you say Om Namo Narayana, O Narayana, you said everything. You did all this worship. If you say Om Namo Narayana, you already meditated in Satyug. If you say Om Namo Narayana, you get the same result of sacrifices in Treta Yuga, meditation in Satyug, and temple worship in Dwapara Yuga. You understand the consolation that you are getting in Kali Yuga by just saying Om Namo Narayana. It gives you the same benefit as doing all of those things. Because man have no time in Kali Yuga. Jessica got no time to go and do 1 round of bead after satsang. I'm just checking everyone through Jessica. And if Jessica got no time, nobody got time. Right, Jess?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we want to talk, and I said, if you talk in Guru, then you have to be talking knowledge. Then we need to understand where knowledge emanates from. We need to scientifically understand where knowledge emanates from. You just can't discuss knowledge in the middle, then it will be gossip. You all know what's gossip? Just finding some knowledge somewhere and discussing that knowledge without authenticating its source is gossip. Yeah? Rita, you know what's gossip? You ever heard of gossip? Hemita? Kerry? You heard of gossip? Have you been involved in any gossip? You in ashram? You can confess. This is a bad part of being in a satsang. Yeah. Alright? So the Supreme Lord, I want you to understand, it might take a while for it to sink in, but understand what I am saying. There is no space that is not filled by the Supreme Lord. So because we live in this material nature, we understand space must be filled from end to end because we are using our mind. Now the mind is limited, and it will be difficult for the mind to understand unlimited. Yes? Because the instrument we are using is limited. To understand a concept that is unlimited. But let it sink in. So when I'm saying there is no space that is not filled with God, it will be difficult to understand that. But there is no space that is not filled by God, either in this material universe or collectively the material and the spiritual universe. There is also spiritual universes. Infinite amount. Infinite. Alright? So, if there is no space that is not filled by the Lord, and all the universes combined is infinite, then what would knowledge be? Infinite. Knowledge will be infinite, and infinite knowledge is the essence of the Supreme Lord. Infinite knowledge is the essence of the Supreme Lord. What does essence mean? Part and parcel of the Lord's attributes. Knowledge is an integral part of the Lord's attribute. It's part of the Lord. The Vedas is a part of the Lord. It is not authored by the Lord. The Vedas have no author. It's a living phenomena. It's a living phenomena. You understand? The Veda is not authored even by the Supreme Lord Himself. Why? It will become finite. If you author that knowledge, it means you will have to start here and finish here. What will happen to that knowledge? It will remain in between, then it will become finite, and God cannot be finite. God is infinite, therefore His knowledge is infinite. Are you understanding? This is the amount of knowledge that is out there. But for the purposes of material creation and humanity, for the purposes of material creation and humanity, the Supreme Lord has sent through the heart of Lord Brahma, the four Vedas. The four Vedas. You understand? That four Vedas is enough knowledge. 545,000 verses is enough knowledge for humanity to prevail in this universe. And that is why it is restricted to that amount. But the Vedas are eternal and infinite. Eternal and infinite. So I'm going to corroborate this now with a few Vedic injunctions from the Srimad Bhagavatam And I'm using Canto 12 in this episode, but I'll be using the Upanishads, the other Puranas, the Mahabharata, and the Ramayana, the Brahma Sutras as we move along. It will be very difficult for me to be coherent and also give you different references. So I want to be coherent. I don't want you to lose your attention. Otherwise, you're going to think what I'm going to be doing immediately after this satsang. I don't want you to think there, Jessica. So right now, I don't want to lose you and to be coherent. So I just want to stick in one book at a time. So text 36, I'm quoting, Saunaka Rishi said, semicolon, O gentle Sutta, please narrate to us how Pela and other great intelligent disciples of Srila Vyasadeva, who are known as the standard authorities of Vedic wisdom, spoke and edited the Vedas. Text 37, O Brahmana, Sutta Goswami is responding, and he said, O Brahmana, first the subtle vibration of transcendental sound appeared from the sky of the heart of the most elevated Lord Brahma, whose mind was perfectly fixed in spiritual realization. One can perceive this subtle vibration when one stops all external hearing. All right? Because somebody also asked last week that how, with just a few years, I've reached this stage of knowing the Vedas. So Lord Brahma, his soul, the Guru soul, and your soul is identical. There is no difference in the souls. It's his qualification that has given him that post of Brahma. So when he meditated, the Supreme Lord revealed the Vedas. When they say sky, sky means space, space of the heart means within the heart, because the soul resides in the heart. The soul resides in the heart. It starts the heartbeat, and through the heartbeat, all functions in the body takes place. Once the heart stops, all functions stop. So the energy of the soul, whilst residing in the heart, pulsates the heart so that a human can function. Yamita, am I contrary to your medical science belief? You don't know, all right. And Hemita is our doctor, all right. But this is behind the scenes, Hemita. Behind the scenes, what no heart surgeon has found yet. They have not found the soul, but they have. Hemita, why don't you ask me? If the soul lives in the heart and a person had a heart attack, how a person who has died, we use that heart in a heart transplant. Don't you think that's what you should have asked me?
Different house.
Different house. So the heart is the seat of the soul. Heart is the seat of the soul. So this seat was sponsored by Sean, my son. If he has a fight with me and takes the seat away, I'll just build another seat. I'll still be sitting on the seat. You understand? So when one heart fails, you just transfer the seat where the soul is sitting. You understand? And this is how heart transplants take place with the same soul. It's not that other person's soul. That soul is already gone to Yamraj. He donated his heart. All right? And I encourage you all to donate your organs. There are many people that need organs. Amita? Okay. Verse 38. By worship of this subtle form of the Vedas, or Brahmana, mystic sages cleanse their hearts of all contamination caused by impurity of substance, activity, and doer, and thus they attain freedom from repeated birth and death. That is the potency of the Vedas. The Vedas is medication to remove your misery from life. That's what the Vedas is. Medication to remove misery from your life. And this is the most important part that I'm going to. From that, text 39, from that transcendental subtle vibration arose the Omkara of three sounds. Full stop. The Omkara has unseen potencies and manifest automatically within a purified heart. Full stop. It is the representation of the absolute truth in all three of his phases: the Supreme Personality, the Supreme Soul, and the Supreme Impersonal Truth. Text 40 and 41. This Omkara, ultimately non-material and imperceptible, is heard by the Supersoul without his possessing material ears or any other material senses. The entire expanse of Vedic sound is elaborated from Omkara, which appears from the soul, within the sky of the heart. Full stop. It is the direct designation of the self originating absolute truth, the Supersoul, and is the secret essence and eternal seed of all Vedic sounds. I'm going to text 42. Omkara exhibited the three original sounds of the alphabet, A, U, and M. These three, or most eminent descendant of Bhargu, sustain all the different threefold aspects of material existence, including the three modes of nature, the names of the Rig, Yajur, and Sama Vedas, the golds known as Bhur, Puva, and Sfar, planetary systems, and the three functional platforms called waking consciousness, sleep, and deep sleep. Text 43. From that Omkara, Lord Brahma created all the sounds of the alphabets, the vowels, consonants, semivowels, sibilants, and others, distinguished by such features as long and short measure. 44. All-powerful Brahma made use of this collection of sounds to produce from his four faces the four Vedas, which appeared together with the sacred sound Omkara and the seven Vyahiti invocations. Full stop. His intention was to propagate the process of Vedic sacrifice according to the different functions performed by the priests of each of the four Vedas. 45. Brahma taught these Vedas to his sons, who were great sages among the Brahmanas and expert in the art of Vedic recitation. They in turn took the role of acharyas and imparted the Vedas to their own sons. Full stop. 46. In this way, throughout the cycles of the 4 ages, generations after generations of disciples, all firmly fixed in the spiritual vows, have received these Vedas by disciplic succession, full stop. At the end of each Dwapara Yuga, the Vedas are edited into separate divisions by eminent sages. 47. Observing that people in general were diminished in their lifespan, strength and intelligence of influence of time, great sages took inspiration from the personality of Godhead sitting within their hearts and systematically divided the Vedas. 48 and 49. O Brahmana, in the present age of Vastu Manu, the leaders of the universe, led by Brahma and Shiva, requested the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the protector of all the worlds, to save the principles of religion. Full stop. O most fortunate Sonaka, the Almighty Lord, exhibiting a divine portion of his plenary portion, then appeared in the womb of Satyavati as the son of Parasara, full stop. In this form, named Krishna Dvepana Vyasa, he divided one Veda into 4. So I want to stop there. I gave you a lot of Vedic injunctions so that I can flow and conclude this week's discourse coherently. So where does everything that we know, we see, we speak, we look, we do, where does all that emanate from? I said you have to find the origin of everything. Where is the origin of everything that we see, feel, touch, do, speak? Where does it originate from? From the subtle sound frequency called Om. From Om, all knowledge is exhibited. From Om, creation is exhibited. Everything starts from that single point, Om. Practice it. Practice it. Open your mouth. Say Om. Start. Open your mouth. Say Om. Close your mouth. Open your mouth. Say Om. Close your mouth. Did your tongue inflect? Say. Yeah, be conscious of your tongue. See if it inflects and say Om. Close your mouth. Your tongue didn't inflect. As soon as your tongue inflect, it goes into language. Any language. Any language. Soon as your tongue inflects, you can start speaking. But the sound Om, your tongue does not inflect, which means it's not a language. It is not married to any language. Om is universal. It's a stand-alone mantra. And from this mantra Om, when the Supreme Lord, Lord Vishnu, breathes out, then this is the frequency in which he breathes. It is Om. In this frequency Om, all forms, names, universes, everything is created through this frequency Om. And this is why in Sanatana Dharma, in the beginning of every mantra, we use
Om. Because the Om is the beginning and the end of everything. When this universe is going to dissolve, it will keep dissolving backward until it goes back into Om, and Om gets back into the Supreme Lord. Do you understand? This is how simple it is, and this is why you need to come to satsang. Once you learn this, once you understand spiritual knowledge, then your journey in this material world becomes an act. Becomes an act. You understand? Then you just act your part that God wants you to act. Otherwise, this material universe is a misery. No matter how much money you have, no matter how less money you have, the misery is still the same in its proportion. Yes or no? Yes. But when you understand this spiritual knowledge, when you understand God, when you understand His creation, and when you understand your role in God's creation, then you're not going against God. You are going with God. When you are going with God, if He can create infinite universes from one small sound called Om, if the Supreme Lord can create infinite universes from a simple sound called Om, and if you are walking with this Supreme Lord, tell me how big your problem can be. How big can your problem be? Because from one speck, remember Om is an energy. Om is a energy. From one speck of energy, the Lord created infinite universes. How big can your problem be? So it is recommended in Kali Yuga that if you do not want to live a miserable life, you must come to Sankirtana Yajna. This is Sankirtana Yajna. Your sacrifice is getting up in the morning, leaving home, putting your petrol, driving to this venue. That's what Yajna means, sacrifice. Sankirtana means the Guru giving a bona fide Guru giving a bona fide discourse. This is a bona fide discourse because I never make anything up. In the whole 10 years that I'm preaching, I never make anything up. I follow within the parameters. I follow within the parameters. And that is why you can have miraculous changes in your life. Because the Vedas is the essence of the Supreme Lord. And if I take that essence of the Supreme Lord and pour it down your ear, I take the essence of the Supreme Lord and I pour it down your ear, what will happen when that essence reaches your consciousness? I take God consciousness because God consciousness resides in the Vedas. There's no difference between God and His knowledge. So I take that knowledge and I inject you every week that you come here. What happens when the knowledge reaches you? It changes you. It changes your mindset. It makes you survive. In the suffocating world, you can take a breath and you can survive for starters. So like the miraculous birth of the next Sand King, you should be having miraculous births in your life. In your own life. Your life, what it was, and when you start coming to satsang, spirituality should take its birth in you. And I'm saying, walk with the Supreme Lord. Walk with the Supreme Lord. You can clear mountains. You can clear mountains. And I am a living example of everything that I teach. I am a living example of everything I teach. The definition of Acharya is he must realize the preachings before he preach. So nothing you get from me has not been realized by me. All of you understand? And everything is very, very simple. In Kali Yuga, everything is very, very simple. You don't have to do anything elaborate. Although many Hindus are used to doing elaborate and gorgeous things, you don't have to do it. As I've read from the Vedas itself, all you have to do is the Om Namo Narayan mantra wherever you are. Anything is about to happen. When you go in for an interview, when your car breaks down in the middle of the road, when anything happens, all you have to do is just say the Om Namo Narayan mantra, and somehow your problem will be resolved. Temporarily for that point in time, permanently if you continue to come to Sankirtana Yajna Satsangs. Are there any questions? So from next week, on our group, I've asked our disciples to ask me questions which will become the book itself. Alright? So if you have any questions, you can give it to me, because I need to corroborate the answer that I'm giving you. I want the questions in advance so that I can find these books. Alright? And give you reference as you can ask any question in relation to the guru-disciple relationship. So with this introduction episode, I have proven to you that the relationship between you and the guru is eternal. If you are in the presence of the guru, if you are following the guru, and I do not advertise for people to come to satsang, because the guru-disciple relationship is eternal. It means in the end the guru will find you. It's a Vedic injunction. You don't find the guru finds you. So eternal means, if you want to run away, Tony, if you want to run away next week and don't come back to the guru, no problem. 500 years later, when I take my birth again, you'll come back to me, and this satsang will carry on somewhere. Even if I'm in Iceland, you'll take birth as an Eskimo. And you will be where the guru is. Tony, you can't hide the guru-disciple relationship. If you get angry and you leave, like I had halls full, this Saligram hall, full. Every Tuesday, Saligram hall was full. Those people will still follow me. They had a fight, they left for various excuses. In 500, 600 years, when I become a guru again, I'll always be a guru, and the disciples will always be a disciple. Gurus make mistakes intentionally. Why gurus make mistakes intentionally? Why gurus make mistakes intentionally? I ate meat, I drank in my life, so that I must also come back. Because the system is absolute, and if I'm absolutely pure, I'll be gone. Who'll take care of you? You understand, Satisbhai? So gurus make mistakes so that they can also accrue some karma and take their birth so that they can serve their disciples. This is eternal, it is continuous. You have no choice in it. You have no choice in it. If you don't love the Guru this time, you don't look handsome enough for you, I'll get another face. Next creation, I'll get another face. You'll have another face, and then I might appeal to you. But there is no getting away. There is, and it is important that I tell you this. Rita, it's important that I tell you this. This is important information. So you don't get angry and leave the ashram, because we'll still meet up. And we all have met up before. Satish, we all have met up before. Right from creation, 155 trillion years, we've all been together at various stages of our life. Jessica is happy because she and Satish Bhai were discussing this the whole week. All right? And I found verdict injunctions on my side to prove what they were discussing was right. Because if you gossip about the Guru at home, Guru knows. Shanti? Shanti, if you gossip about the Guru at home, Guru knows. You know why I'm saying Shanti? One day Shanti was gossiping about the Guru, and by mistake her phone rang. And I heard the gossip. But it was a good gossip. But that's how it operates. Jai Sriman Narayan.